There is one all-time greatest moment in the history of sports, and it happened in the 1932 World Series. The story goes that in the bottom of the ninth inning, with 2 outs, a full count, and the tying run on base, Babe Ruth raised his arm and pointed to the center field bleachers. No one believed it, because nobody had ever done it before, but the Babe was calling his shot. On the next pitch, the great Bambino hit a towering 400-foot home run. And even although he'd been a hero before that, that's pretty much how he became a legend. 30 years later, a kid named Benjamin Franklin Rodriguez became a neighborhood legend. It was in the greatest summer of my life when he taught me how to play baseball, and he became my best friend. And he got me out of the biggest pickle I'd ever be in.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
This is Cheapseat Reviews.
Hello, and thank you for listening to Cheapseat Reviews, the podcast that explores the Hollywood film industry for the greater good.
The Greater Bambino.
the what?
The Great Bambino.
There you go. Okay.
Sorry, I had a stutter or something. I don't know what happened.
That's fine. The Greater Bambino. I like that.
Yeah, the Greater Bambino.
That's good. I like that. This is episode 482, and tonight we're talking about The Sandlot. We are doing, for the month of June, a new theme, right? This has been the year of themes. Last month wasn't really all that great. I thought it was going to be more fun than it was. Really wasn't. But this month, I think we're going to have a good time.
Yeah, I think so.
I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think
last month was questionable.
Yeah,
at best.
Yeah, at best. This month, I feel like it's going to have some nostalgia for all of us involved. So we are doing The Sandlot because the theme of the month is summer break. School is out.
Yeah.
Time to do summer break stuff. So we thought, well, why not do a bunch of movies kind of about the summer and summer break and school being out? And so we start the month with The Sandlot. And I'll let you know what we're doing at the end of the episode for the rest of the month, but I think you're gonna like this month. We're kind of we have 2 movies that are similar to The Sandlot and another movie, and then we have a very summer father-son road trip adventure, and another one at a camp, like a summer camp, that's very wholesome and fun. So that's all I'm going to say about that. We'll let you figure out which ones those are as we go. This is episode, I already said that. I am Shawn, your host. I am Shawn. Shawn, gosh, I'm not used to giving myself middle names. This is episode 482, and tonight we're talking about The Sandlot. I am Shawn. I wish I played ball like a girl. All red.
Wait. Who is she? Sorry.
Oh, I love that bit. I may or may not have captured that. And Andrew, chewing tobacco plus roller coaster equals bad idea, Jimison.
Oh, yeah. That scene kind of made me want chili, though. I don't know why. Okay. Like a big bowl of chili.
That's interesting. I would never have picked that. When that scene started, I had to pause the movie and explain to my kids what was happening.
Oh yeah, they didn't know what chaw was.
They had no idea what chewing tobacco is, and because none of us in the family does it. My brother-in-law does it some, but not much, and he doesn't do it when the kids are around. So like they had no idea what that was. So that was fun trying to explain the concept of chewing tobacco.
Yeah, growing up. So Shawn is from the middle part of North Carolina. I'm from the mountains, and the majority of people in my family, growing up, chewed tobacco. My great grandmother had a jar, a coffee can back when coffee came in metal cans, and she would line it with paper towels, and she would sit it on the floor next to her recliner. And every time we would go see her, my mom would say, go give your great grandma a kiss. And I would, of course, I wanted to because I loved her, but I dreaded it at the same time because she had on the corners of her mouth chewing tobacco, just kind of like, like a stain or like a little dribble. And then, my dad still chews tobacco. So I knew in that scene, when the first time I watched this movie, back in, I guess I was in 3rd grade, I knew exactly what that was. And scarred me.
Yeah, it's funny because so yes, I grew up in the middle of the state, but I had a good redneck grandfather, and both of my dad's parents were good Southern. They lived in 2 houses their entire life. They bought a house when they got married, and then they moved when my dad went to college, and that was it. Those 2 houses. They owned like 3 cars ever. They worked at one job. They had one job. They worked at the mill, the textile mill in Ashboro for 30 years. And my dad's mom, Meemaw, I called her. She worked there for an additional 10 after she retired as part-time. I remember coming home or going to visit, and she would they would give her this huge box. I mean, I don't know, just like not quite like a box the size of a washing machine, right? This huge box filled with nylons, and her job would be to wrap them around the little cardboard in pairs for the packaging. So like she would just wrap the nylon and then they would wrap together, and she would tuck it in and then put it in a different box, and she would do that while she watched TV, the evening news, whatever. And that was what she would do. And I would help her, and she was paid by the amount that she did. And then they would get packaged. So like if your grandmother bought nylons stockings, like there's a good chance my grandmother wrapped them up. If so, anyway.
Nice.
But my granddad, he was a smoker. He smoked in the house, cigars, cigarettes. He probably did chewing tobacco. I don't remember. I don't have a lot of memories of him, but anyway, it's fun. And speaking, I don't know what this when you said that you're from the mountains of North Carolina, and we're just talking about the South and Southern culture. We were having dinner the night, and we were talking about regional words with the kids. Just why do we say certain things here and other people say something else, and then somehow we got onto accents, and we were kind of talking about accents, and I said, like, some people like farther north would listen to the way we talk and think that we have Southern accents, and my kids are like, really? And I said, yes, but then I actually turned on my Southern accent and went real kind of low country, North Carolina, South Carolina. Just let it lean on itself for a little bit. It freaked out my kids. They're like, stop doing that. I'm like, you can just let it just draw out there. That's like Georgia Southern, that's a little bit of South Carolina Southern. And then it's not quite the same as hillbilly. Hillbilly North Carolina is a little bit shorter. It's a little harsher. And they were like, stop doing that. Stop doing it. It was really funny. Like it freaked them out.
Yeah. I have this thing, and my kids call me out on it. And actually some of my students have called me out on it before when they've heard me talk on the phone to somebody. But they say it's a sign of a good listener. I don't realize I'm doing it when I do it, but I'll be talking to somebody and I pick up their accent, and it is reflected in the way that I'm speaking.
Interesting.
So when I'm speaking to my mom and dad, it gets a little bit country, because that's how they sound. And then if I'm speaking to, people from Michigan or wherever, I get a little Midwestern. it's a curse, and I can't turn it off.
Well, when Sam goes back to visit family in Wisconsin, I mean, he's a different dude. That first podcast back every time, it's so different because he
Yeah.
still has that accent, like he hasn't shaken it off. So that's really funny. So anyway, enough about accents. There's hardly any accents in this movie, The Sandlot, which I guess I don't even know where this takes place. I guess California somewhere.
Well, yeah, I guess it's supposed. I mean, it was filmed in Utah, a lot of it,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I guess it's supposed to be California.
Yeah. Who knows? But I just because he has an LA Dodgers hat, I guess
Yeah.
that maybe. But the kids all wear different. They all have a different
Right.
team.
Right. There's the pitcher wears the Kansas City. It's not the Royals at that point, but it's.
I don't know. I don't know
remember.
baseball history that well.
I'm not a big baseball person, even though I was forced to play. And maybe that's why I was forced to play baseball, Little League,
Mhm.
all through elementary school. And then my grandpa would sleep to baseball. Every time we would go visit, he would turn. That was his napping background noise. Was
Sure.
baseball.
Yeah, I get
That's
that.
about all I know.
Yeah, I'm. If our friend Billy were on the show, first of all, he and I argue all the time because he loves baseball, and I
Mhm.
don't. I do not like baseball, and I watched a clip recently where an umpire completely he literally threw a guy out and he didn't know who said the thing, so he just said pick somebody and they have to go. Like, like what is happening? So I sit in the clip of this. I'm like, this is reason 362 why I don't like baseball. And but anyway, I could play church league softball. I had a good time with that, and I played with Billy, but I can't stand baseball. Never really liked it. But I love baseball movies.
Yeah.
I love
Rookie of the Year, Angels in the
Rookie of the Year.
Outfield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Rookie, For the
Right.
Love of
Oh,
the
yeah.
Game, Bull Durham,
League
you
of Their
know,
Own.
League of Their Own. Like I love all of these
Yeah.
movies.
Yeah.
But I don't like baseball. I don't know. I think baseball is easier to film than football, I think.
Maybe.
It's
Yeah.
it's easier to put a camera on the field in baseball because it's a slower kind of pace game, and I think you can. I don't know. I think it's also a little bit easier to. I don't know because you think about like the great football movies. There's not really a lot.
Yeah.
I can think of like 3.
Remember the
like,
Titans.
yeah,
What is Invincible? Is that the one with Mark Wahlberg?
yeah, but I don't think it's a very good football movie.
It's not. I'm just trying to think of football movies.
Yeah,
The
and even
Longest
Remember
Yard.
the Titans, the longest. Okay, yeah, it's fun. I wouldn't call it a good movie, but it's fun.
Right.
But
Yeah.
like even Remember the Titans, that movie's about racism. It's not about football.
Right. Yeah.
But a lot of them are metaphor, right? Like The Natural is a metaphor of the forces of good versus evil, and they just wrapped it in a baseball movie. It's the metaphor. But like I think of movies like The Replacements, fun time,
Yeah.
good time.
Waterboy.
What? Yeah. It is interesting. Most of them we've said, most of the movies we've done. Well, I guess Remember the Titans is not a comedy. You got
Yeah.
Rudy.
Yeah.
Rudy's good.
The Blind Side.
The Blind Side. Yeah. Well, again,
Yeah.
not really a football movie.
Right.
The other one was Any Given Sunday.
Varsity Blue. Is that a?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't forget Ali Larder and her bikini there. So.
Yeah.
Anyway,
none of those movies are this movie.
None of those movies are our movie, The Sandlot. What is The Sandlot?
Which, by the way, The Sandlot, I just was looking it up as we were chatting, was set in the San Fernando Valley in California.
It makes sense. It would have to be somewhere sunny and warm because it never rained.
Right. So The Sandlot is about a boy in the summer of 1962 who moves to a town, and he's taken under the wing of a young baseball prodigy and his rowdy team, resulting in many adventures. That's a little vague, IMDb, but okay.
Yeah, many adventures. Did they scale a mountain? Did they search for
I
lost
guess
treasure?
so.
Like,
Yeah.
what does many adventures mean? That's funny.
I mean, the first half of that sentence is pretty accurate.
Yeah.
It's about a new kid, moves to town, doesn't know anything about baseball, and the only kids in town just play baseball.
Yeah.
So he either has to play baseball with them or have no friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty accurate. Yeah.
Yeah.
When we watched this with the kids, and when the mom was like, "Hey, we don't want you spending all summer in here just playing with your stuff. Go make some friends." My wife and I both looked at our son and go, "See, moms have been saying this since the 60s.
Right.
Go out and make some friends." And he says, "I have friends. They're just all online." So
Right.
anyway, excuse me. Oh, interesting. So when you said 1962, it triggered something in my mind. It made me think. It says in the beginning of the movie, in the summer of 1962, it says that, but I always forget that that's the time period.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking, I wonder if there's any like if there's any cars that drive by that aren't period accurate or something like that.
Right.
So I'm on IMDb under goofs.
Yeah.
So you've got like factual errors. In the movie's the opening scene, adult Scott narrates the Babe Ruth called shot happening the bottom of the ninth of Game 3 of the 1932 World Series, tying run on base. This would imply the Yankees were down by 2 runs at Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. However, the game was played at Wrigley Field in Chicago. It was the top of the 5th in a 4-4 tie where Ruth hit his called shot. So
you would think they would check that out.
Yeah, you'd think. It is impossible to hit the hide off a baseball, as proven by Mythbusters. I love it that we're considering that fact.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's fantastic. Then there's a section of incorrectly regarded as goofs. Mastiffs are quite docile, the opposite of the depiction of the movie. This was done on purpose to show how young children always imagine things to be scarier than they are.
Yeah.
So like the dog is probably chasing him because it just wants the ball, not because it wants to eat the kid.
Right.
How about this one? Ray Charles' rendition of America the Beautiful plays during the 4th of July scene. This film takes place in 1962. That song was first published in 1910, but Charles wouldn't record it until 1976.
Okay. So obviously they didn't ask him.
Yeah, I haven't scrolled. I'm going to scroll down here too. Let's see if there's any. There we go. Anachronisms. Mr. Myrtle has both Milwaukee Braves and Atlanta Braves memorabilia in his house. In 1962, the Braves were still playing in Milwaukee and had not yet made the move to Atlanta. That wouldn't happen for another 3 years. Then he has a 70s San Diego's Padre pennant in his room. The Padres didn't enter the league until 1969. Let's see. Some of the shots behind Benny, his Dodgers hat from MLB logo from on the back. MLB caps didn't put the logo until 92. There's apparently Coors Light beer cans in Mr. Merle's junkyard. Coors Light wasn't produced until 79. I like it. So there's a bunch of fun little things like that. And most of the stuff I don't, it's so, it doesn't matter.
Right.
It really doesn't matter. The ride the boys go on, the Trabant wasn't introduced until 1963. I mean, who cares?
Right.
It's still a fun time. Anyway, let's do our let's do our 5-word reviews. Why don't you go ahead?
Nostalgia filled baseball movie. That's what I kept it simple. Yeah, I mean, like I said, this movie came out when I was either third or fourth grade, somewhere in there, and I don't know that I went to the theater to see it, but I remember seeing it when I was younger. And I, like I said, don't like baseball at all, but I love this movie. And seeing it again, I probably haven't watched it I think I maybe watched it with my kids 4 or 5 years ago. Maybe not that long, maybe 3 years ago. And it still holds up. Like, it is a period piece. It's like we just said, it's set in 1962. But the interaction that these kids have with each other, and the way that they talk to each other, and the shenanigans, I guess, that they get into, it still holds up with kids today. There's still that kid who's trying to make out with the lifeguard, and there's still the kid who is building. Maybe they're not using what is that stuff that was
Not erector sets, but
erector set, yeah. But they're building things with Legos to scale a fence or whatever. But they're still looking at swimsuits in a treehouse with their friends and stuff like that. So the movie itself, it holds up. I love the movie, even though I'm not a baseball fan. And it's a good watch. It's a good family watch. It's fun to watch. And I think all of the kids did such a great job with this movie. I don't think any of them were bad. Sometimes you see movies and the kid actors ruin it because they're bad kid actors. Yeah. And I think this movie, they just had a good time, and you could tell they had fun making it. And I've seen some interviews with these guys as they've gotten older, and they still say it was one of the best summers of our lives, and we still talk to each other. We're still friends. Yeah.
It's funny. I hadn't even thought about the acting part of it because you're right. Like, they're all doing a pretty good job. And I think it also helps that they're interacting with each other. They're interacting with other kids.
Yeah.
It's not like, this is unfair, but it is what it is. It's not like in Harry Potter 1, where Daniel Radcliffe is having to carry a movie that also has Richard Harris and Alan Rickman and Maggie Smith. And, like, these are well-known, established, really good actors in their fields.
Yeah.
And this kid comes along and he has to carry a movie. And yeah, Daniel Radcliffe, that those first 2 movies, he's not great at acting because he's just a kid having to act with adults. It's tough. Whereas in this movie, there's not a whole lot of acting with adults. Not really. The kid has to act with his dad and Indiana Jones's girlfriend for a little bit, but like,
yeah,
not a whole lot. And then there's, one scene at the end with James Earl Jones, but for the most part, they're just hanging out with each other.
Right.
So,
yeah. And I mean, I forget, I saw something that said how long they had to film this. It wasn't very long. But
like 40 days or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. And the kids just hung out with each other the whole time. And it was like going to a summer camp or something. So yeah, I mean, you can tell that they had fun making this movie.
Yeah. No, yeah.
What about you? Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, you can tell. You're right.
What about your 5-word?
Yeah. Great coming of age film. I
Yeah.
think it's just a nice coming of age film. You know, the main character goes from this super shy, afraid to try anything to, you know, by the end of the movie, he's able to, you know, be a part of the team, have a conversation with a, you know, a baseball legend and, you know, live a nice normal life. So it's yeah, this movie's great. I mean, it's just it's a fun time. So this 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 happened. Okay. So we sit down to watch the movie on Tuesday. And Sarah takes a picture of the logo, the Sandlot, and posts it on Facebook. Sarah, my wife, and posts it on Facebook. Watching Sandlot for podcast prep with Shawn. I think this is my first time seeing it.
Really?
And oh my God, the hate she got from the internet.
Wow.
How in the world is this your first time seeing this movie? I got some deflected hate, especially from Billy, who said, Shawn, how have you never forced your wife to watch this? You need to do better. I mean, like people that are friends of me that have never met her, but because we're friends on Facebook and she tagged me, they see the post, and she's like, "Who are these people that are yelling at me?" And I'm like, well, "These two people suck. You don't need to worry about them. It's fine." And they don't listen to the show, so I can say that. But anyway, it was really funny. All that stuff. So
Yeah.
but yeah, it's just a fun, wholesome movie, and it's. I mean, I have really no criticisms of the movie itself. I mean, not
No.
really. The movie
I mean,
flows. Go ahead.
there's one thing that does bother me, and that is the scene where they're making s'mores in the treehouse and they're melting the marshmallows over candles.
Yeah.
And not that there's anything wrong with what they did if it's the right kind of candles. But I can remember as a kid, my aunt, my dad's sister, made a roasted marshmallow over a citronella candle
Oh.
and got so sick.
Oh,
And
very
she
sick.
couldn't, yeah, she at the time was like, I don't know what the problem is, but it was it was a bug, deflecting candle
Yeah.
and letting off all these chemicals. And I think she learned. But anyway, as long as they're not using, as long as they're using like real beeswax candles, I think it's probably fine. But that's the only thing that kind of made me stop and think for a minute.
There was a moment during the watching of the movie where my son says, "Where are these kids' parents? These kids are all over town. They're like," and I said, "That's how it was." And he said,
Yeah.
"Really?" I said, "That's how it was with me." Now, these kids are going all over town. I wasn't allowed to leave my neighborhood, which I
Right.
still did, but I lived so far away from anything that, growing up at that age, the closest convenience store was like 6 or 7 miles away.
Uh-huh.
So you weren't running there, right? Even if I got on my bike, that's a long bike ride.
Right.
So I never left the neighborhood. But I'm like, that's how it was back then. And he says, wow, that's like, to him, that was crazy. Like, that, just having that kind of freedom as children.
Uh-huh.
So I did capture some of the trivia for the movie. And this one cracked me up. Director David Evans had one clear instruction for Chauncey, who was the kid that played Squints,
Right.
during the pool scene where he kisses Wendy Peppercorn. Quote, keep your tongue in your mouth.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. And like, when the kiss happened, it like, both of my kids were shocked.
Yeah.
They're like, what is happening? And then, like, because they thought, oh my God, is he dead? Like, what's happening? And And even Sarah had not seen it. And she was like, oh my gosh, is he pretending so he can kiss her? And then when he does, she's like, oh my God, boys, I swear.
There's I don't know if it was a few years ago. I can't remember I think it's on TikTok, but it came out before TikTok came out. But there's a video of some middle school kids. I mean, it doesn't show the kids, but you can hear them in the background, and they're watching that scene in their gym or in their auditorium or somewhere. And you hear the room is just silent. And then you hear a teacher, like whoever's filming, kind of start to chuckle right before it happens. And then you see him like lean over, open his eyes, and smile at the guys.
Yeah.
And then the kids start to mumble, and then this magic moment, right? And he starts kissing, and the kids just erupt. And you know, that's the thing about this movie. Like, that joke still works because there are kids who would think about doing that now. You know, I work with middle schoolers every day, and I could definitely see one of them trying that just to get to kiss a girl, you know?
Yeah, I did tell Declan, I'm like, hey, don't drown yourself trying to kiss a girl. And he's just like, no, I would never do that. Like, well, you haven't hit that age where that stuff matters.
I remember having the biggest crush on Wendy Peppercorn.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, 3rd grade, 4th grade Andrew, I was like, wow, she's really pretty.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm same, you know, like when I was watching this movie, I'm trying to think, 93, I would have been 11.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that's, I think that's age appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
For me. I'm curious, actually. I looked her up. She still does stuff. She still acts.
Oh yeah. She's like she did some sort of cop show or 911 or some.
So her real name is Marley Shelton. Let's see. And she's done she did several. She did that Planet Terror and Death Proof movies.
Mm-hmm.
She was in Never Been Kissed, Bubble Boy. She's in the new Scream that just came out as Sheriff Judy Hicks.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
She was in Rampage with The Rock, which I saw, Dr. Carrie Atkins.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny. I've seen that movie. It never occurred to me to think, oh, hey, that's the girl from The Thing. The Last Kiss, Sin City. She's in Sin City as the customer.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, she's done a bunch of stuff. She's a professional actress. So good for her. I don't know. Let's see. She's 8 years older than I am. So she's she's Sam's age.
I wonder, just out of curiosity, how old the Chauncey Squints guy was. He was born in 81.
So he's my age. Oh, he's a little bit younger than Sam. So that's a 6-year difference, basically 5-year difference.
Oh yeah, okay.
7-year difference, yeah.
But filming the movie, I don't know.
Well, yeah, filming that's 7 years.
The movie that still had to be a little awkward.
Yeah,
because I don't know how old she was when the movie. I mean, I guess that would make her.
Well, in 93, right? They filmed it in 93, or let's say summer of 92.
Right.
Then that means that she would have been. Math is hard. 2018. She would have been 18.
Yeah, and that kid would have been
11.
11. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good for him.
I will say this too about that moment. It's a moment in a movie that you can't shoot today.
No, I was just thinking that same thing.
Yeah.
Because, and here's why. I have an 11-year-old currently. And my older son is now going into high school, just finished 8th grade. And my 8th grade son's friends female friends have said, "Man, your little brothers are kind of cute," and he's looked at them and said, "Ah, don't be gross. You're older than them. You can't say stuff like that." And they're only what 3 years older, 4 years older, 3 years older, I guess.
Well, I'm thinking of it from the standpoint of one, it's an unwanted kiss,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
It's by all accounts, it's sexual harassment.
Yeah, it is.
It is.
But
And
it
and
is an 11-year-old, I guess. Yeah.
yeah.
In today's world, I don't know. You're
Yeah,
right.
in today's world, she would sue him. Like the
Oh,
police
yeah.
would be called, like it would some Karen at the pool. Sorry, I know your wife's name's Karen, but some
She would be that Karen, though,
someone at the
for that
pool
moment.
would oh my gosh, that's so blah blah blah. They're like, we were banned from the pool. Yeah, in real life they would be in jail. Like something would have happened. So you can't shoot that scene. You can't make that. But anyway, here's another piece of trivia about that scene. Also, for most of the filming, the days were very hot. However, during the filming of the pool scene, it was overcast and the water was 56 degrees. All of the kids were extremely cold and can be seen shivering. So before Squints pretends to drown, you can see that his teeth are chattering. And I've
I've
always
always noticed that.
yeah, I did too. I thought, are they cold? Because he acts like when I was a kid, I thought, oh, it's he's nervous. You get that nervous energy, and you kind of get no, it's because it's cold. So
Yeah. And then I saw, I guess, in some of the other trivia that for the rest of the time, it was just sweltering as
Yeah.
they filmed this. So much so that one of the guys even passed out.
the main kid,
Yeah, the main
Small,
kid.
like,
Yeah.
during the chase scene, he passed out and crashed into the camera operator.
Yeah.
So yikes. I mean, I mean, like, I don't know if I've told this story on air or not, but I mean, when I was filming the TV show Palmetto Point, one of the first day of shooting it's Charleston. It's in July. It's 103, and our first assistant camera operator collapsed due to heat exhaustion because we didn't have water on set. We only had soda and tea.
Oh, man.
So he drank like 4 Cokes
Mhm.
to try to keep his body cool, and he passed out because his kidneys went into shock because he didn't have any water.
Right.
So we had to shut down production for like 4 days, and they had to hire a set medic and a craft services person there to make sure that we had healthy, drinks, Gatorades and water and, fruit, oranges and things like that you can eat to kind of help maintain yourself. But it took our first AC passing out before they would do anything. But that's how that production was, man. That's just
Uh-huh.
oh God, Palmetto Point. So I'm not gonna lie. There was a moment when I was trying to come up with themes for June.
Uh-huh.
And my wife actually came up with this summer break. This was her idea. I said, I wonder if there's enough of the movies that I've done that are streaming that we could do a month of movies that Shawn has worked on. And the short answer is I don't think there is.
Yeah.
I don't think there's enough of them streaming. I know that one is on Prime that I know of, but I don't think that the rest of them are streaming. But if I find out that there's at least 4 of the projects that I worked on that are streaming, I might force you guys to do it. But
Well, you did have that opportunity to work on a small film called Hunger Games.
I did almost. Yeah, you're right. I did almost. Admittedly, one of the few kind of regrets in my professional career, but Anyway, I guess one of the reasons why we keep talking about other things other than the Sandlot, because, and I was a little worried about this when you have a movie that's so beloved,
Right.
that has very few flaws, and the story itself is just quite. It's kind of simple, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Like, here's what, if you've never seen The Sandlot, the best way to really describe it is that this movie is a collection, really, of vignettes,
Yeah.
right? Like, the movie opens with this kid trying to fit in
Mm-hmm.
with his, with his new stepdad, doesn't know how to call him dad or Bill or whatever, right? And
Yeah.
then he
Which that
goes
did
and he,
kind of bother me a little bit. I feel like that was kind of overdone.
yeah, yeah. I don't know. Having never been in that situation, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
But and then then you have the moment where he goes to the Sandlot, they make fun of him, he leaves. He goes back to the Sandlot because Benny, gets him out there. He catches the ball, and then all is good, right? We're all good. The kid can play. It's one of those moments in life where we don't like you because you don't have value, but now that you have value to the team, we're gonna like you.
Yeah. I mean, you have to prove yourself.
You have to prove
Basically.
yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like that's like vignette one. And then the next vignette is just them, kind of playing ball a little bit, and then they have the pool bit. And then the next vignette is them playing baseball against the other team. And then we have
Right.
the next one is the night baseball game, well, I guess the them playing baseball against the other team is after the fireworks, the night game. So it's like a
You bob
vignette.
for apples in the toilet.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
it.
you have the great
Yeah.
riff off there. And then the last third of the movie is them trying to get the ball, the Babe Ruth signed ball, back from, the backyard
Right.
with this,
Yeah. Have you, well, two things. So one, I think the reason that I like this movie so much is I was that kid. And maybe not with, maybe not with baseball, but with a lot of things in life. I was an awkward child. I wasn't good at anything as far as like sports were concerned, or even outdoor things. Like I just, I would go to a friend's house and they'd be like, "You want to play flashlight tag in the woods?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not going to be good at it, but okay." And then, it was just stuff like that. Um, I felt that I connected with this kid. Even back then when I watched the movie, I felt his pain of like, how do I fit in with these people that I don't really know? And I still to this day don't make friends very easily, right off the bat. It takes a while. But back then that's who I was. And I wish it were as easy as just catching a ball to make friends.
Yeah.
But that's thing number one is I relate to it because I feel this, I feel like this kid, or I felt like this kid as a young kid. But then the second thing is I've heard this. I don't know if it's a fan theory. I don't know what you would call it, but maybe it's a fan theory that the reason that Smalls and Benny were so successful in baseball later on, Smalls becomes the announcer guy, and Benny becomes a professional baseball player. Is that they started spending time with James Earl Jones' character, Mr. Myrtle, sorry,
Mhm.
who was a professional baseball player. And because Smalls had to basically describe everything that was happening to Mr. Myrtle because he couldn't see, that's how he got his, sports announcing, broadcasting
Yeah.
background. And then because Benny spent so much time hearing the stories from Mr. Myrtle about how he played baseball, and that encouraged him to become this great baseball player. that's kind of a fan theory, I guess you would call it, but it's something I've heard, and I was like, that kind of makes sense because the
Yeah.
rest of the kids don't really spend that much time with Mr. Myrtle that we see. And then the last thing I really love and still wish that movies did this. At the end of the movie, we get the story of this kid went on to do this.
Yeah.
And this kid went on to do this. And this kid got lost in the 60s and no one ever heard from him again. Like,
Yeah.
I like that because it kind of gives you a little bit of closure on each character. Because this is one of those movies that you do kind of appreciate each kid. There's some big cast movies where you don't really get to know all the kids, and we don't get to know all these kids very well, but I think we get to know them enough that you appreciate, like, oh, that's what he is doing now. I don't know. I kind of like that.
No, I do too, and I do like it when it's appropriate.
Yeah.
For those kinds of things. I think that's kind of cool. When you do it in a movie like this that's not real, then it makes it kind of feel real. But also it just makes it just gives you an opportunity to be a little goofy. Like,
right.
He became a professional wrestler. You know him as the Great Hambino.
Right.
That's not real, but it sounds fun. So, because usually in movies like that, it's it's like a war movie or something, and then it says he went
Right.
on to serve to another tour and retired and went back to manage his uncle's bait shop. Like you, yeah. But you're right. I do like that, and the fan theory, yeah, whatever. It's fun. That's what makes some little fan theories fun, is because they can be whatever you want them to be.
Right. Yeah.
But you are right. We do get enough time, I think, with each kid that they have their own personality. I mean, really, we have four main characters, right? You got Smalls, you got Benny, you got Ham, and you got Squints. They talk the most. And then you got the tall kid who got lost in the 70s. He doesn't do anything other than bring the chewing tobacco. Yeah,
Right.
it just says yeah, and does the bungee jumping thing.
Right.
The pitcher, again, he doesn't do a whole lot really either. Not really.
Right.
So, but it's still an ensemble piece, and you have to give everybody enough dialogue, enough screen time. And it was funny, my wife's watching this movie, and she's like, "Oh, I recognize him. I recognize him." And then with
Well,
the pitcher,
you're good.
I was like, with the pitcher, she's like, "I know him from something. I know him from something." I'm like, "Yeah, we watched a movie he's in like not 3 months ago." She said, "Oh my gosh!" And she's singing, and then like we're in the middle of the movie, and all of a sudden she goes, "The Mighty Ducks." I'm like, "Yes, he's from the Mighty Ducks."
These kids, I mean, they did a lot back in the 90s.
Yeah.
They did a movie called The Big Green that a lot of them were in. It was, well, a good bit of them were in. They were on Boy Meets World, some of them. They did a lot of the TGIF shows that were on Friday nights.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, they were around quite a bit.
I will say the only thing that really actually annoyed me in the movie is this, and it's always bothered me, is that the narrator is not the same voice as the guy at the end of the movie.
You know when that bothered me?
This time? This watch? Yeah.
I'd never noticed it before that it wasn't the same guy until this watching. And I maybe because I had on the C.R.S. glasses. Oh, wait. No, C.S.R. Sorry. C.R.S. is can't remember shit. That's what my grandpa used to say. So he would say, "Sorry, I have C.R.S." Yeah, the cheap seat review glasses. I did notice that, and it bothered me. It really did, because then I was like, well, who was narrating? And then I had to go read through the trivia to find it because he's not credited. Yeah.
It's the director of the movie. Yeah.
Which, knowing that, he has a good voice. Like, I want him to narrate more.
Yeah.
But but it did bother me, though.
Yeah. It's also one of those things where, because a man's voice doesn't change that much in his life, not really. For example, did you ever see the movie Space Cowboys?
Oh yeah.
So
yeah, with the old guys.
Yeah. So what they do at the beginning of the movie, they're showing this black and white, like 1960s era. These dudes are all test pilots. They're going to be astronauts. And so the actors they have are just, regular actors, because they're supposed to look like Tommy Lee Jones and Clint Eastwood. And so they have them talking, but they dub Clint Eastwood's voice, and they have the other guys' voices dubbed in so that we would know as the audience, go, oh, that's who Clint Eastwood's going to be. That's the Clint Eastwood character 30 years from now. And I thought, and I remember asking, like, I watched it for the first time with my dad. And my dad said, yeah, a man's voice doesn't really change all that much. And I said, yeah, but it looks weird because you're so used to hearing, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because Clint Eastwood has a distinguished voice. Tommy Lee Jones has a recognizable voice. So when you see some 20-something handsome man with Tommy Lee Jones' voice, you're like, that, my brain doesn't like that.
Right.
It's weird.
Who else was it? It was those two, Donald Glover and
Donald Sutherland.
Not Donald Sutherland. Sorry, wrong Donald. And James Garner, is that the other one?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good movie. I like that movie.
It is a good movie, and it's one of those movies. It's like, it's been on my list to do for some time, just because I thought it's a fun movie.
Mm-hmm. It came out, with all those other space movies with Contact and Deep Impact and
Armageddon.
Armageddon.
There was a lot of space kind of fearing movies in the late 90s. You're not wrong. That's really all I have. I've read the trivia that I captured. Anything last thoughts before I play a few clips?
I do have one more thing.
Okay.
And this is something that I thought about this time of viewing it. I've never thought about it before. But he goes and he takes the Babe Ruth baseball. What ball were he and his stepdad playing catch with? Because obviously there's a ball that's not the Babe Ruth ball that he could have gotten.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You wouldn't make for a very interesting movie, but you're not wrong. There is another ball in that house that, has his blood, sweat, and tears all over it. Speaking of that scene, this always made me laugh.
Oh, just hold it up there. Nice and hard. Press it against. Yeah.
I just took my eye off the ball, Mom.
Yeah, but at least you caught it.
Oh.
All right.
I always like, one, the slap of the meat against his face, and two, the line, at least you caught it. But just listen to that slap.
Oh.
I don't know why I like that so much, but I do. It's funny. It's just a good old slap.
Oh.
Good slab of meat just right on the face there.
It is. I had to capture this.
You're killing me, Smalls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My son knew that line before he'd ever seen this movie.
I think, my kids do too, and I think it's because I say it to them sometimes.
Yeah. But like when that scene happened in the movie, my son looked at me and goes, "That's what it's from?" Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it is on, there are shirts with Hamilton Porter's face on it.
Yeah.
and it says you're killing me, Smalls.
You're killing me, Smalls.
And it amazes me how many people don't know that that's from this movie, or don't know what that image is from when they see it on a shirt.
I captured the insults.
Shut up, idiot! Moron! Scab eater! Butt sniffer! Puss licker! Fart smeller! You eat dog crap for breakfast, geek! You make your wings with your mama's toe jams! Yeah. You bob for apples in the toilet, and you like it! You play ball like a girl!
Now, I love that scene because it's hysterical, but also I felt bad for the other kid because his teammates don't support him like Ham's teammates do.
Not at all.
Like they
just let him get torched there.
Yeah, they don't cheer or nothing. All right. This is the Baby Ruth moment.
Listen to me, Smalls. It's the matter of life and death. Where did your old man get that ball? What? I don't know. Some lady gave it to him. Why? What? Yeah, she even signed her name on it. Some lady named Ruth. Baby Ruth.
I will say this movie has a lot of kids screaming in it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of times they're just screaming. This
The Sultan of Swat. The King of Crash. The Colossus of Cloud. The Colossus of Cloud. Baby Ruth. The Great Bambino. Oh my God! You mean that's the same guy? Yes.
Oh my gosh. Also, I can tell I was in a hurry because when I was labeling these clips, I misspelled insults. So the clip of
Shut up, idiot.
is called inults. And this one is called knock on the doot.
Okay.
Next time anybody ever got the best of old Hercules, why didn't you just knock on the door? I'd have gotten it for you.
Knock on the doot. That's right.
Yeah.
All right. Time for, I guess, this.
And now for some more bad news. Ready?
I can already play the trivia, and I got probably no game, or is there?
No.
Yeah.
I mean, I do have. I think I started making one, but then I realized it was just the two of us, so I didn't know if we wanted to do it. But let me see what I put in here real quick. Oh no, I didn't.
No,
One of them was going to be how much is what is the cost of the baseball?
Yeah, he says it was
Yeah.
like unless you have 62 cents lying around, or
I think it was 98 cents.
98 cents. I couldn't remember.
Yeah.
It was just under $1.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I saw the signs on the store, the convenience store, and it said something. I was going to write those down. Something was like $9.45, and I was like, "Ooh, that's a good question to ask." But then I thought, if it's just the two of us, we probably won't do a game.
Yeah, no worries. All right, so then we'll play this. Our score. We're gonna have to give this movie a score. Now, IMDb has this movie scored at a 7.8 out of 10, which I think is a pretty good score for IMDb. I think that's a pretty solid thing there. So, what you got for The Sandlot?
I have to go a little bit higher than IMDb on this for this week because I just don't find much wrong with this movie. I enjoy it, like I said, and it holds up, and it's a fun watch. So a few minor little things, like we said, the narrator and a couple of things here and there, but
Citronella candle poisoning, yeah.
Right. So I'm probably gonna give this. And the music. the music to this movie is great.
Oh,
The
the score
soundtrack
is really
and the
good,
score. Yeah. Because it's got some soundtrack stuff in there too. Some
Oh yeah. There's a
Yeah.
lot of good soundtrack. Yeah,
yeah,
licensed music for time appropriate.
right. So yeah, all that being said, I'm gonna go an 8.3 out of 10.
Okay, that's a good score. 8.3. I think not 88.3. 8.3. I can't really fault you there. Again, it's just a good wholesome movie. I'm gonna do an 8.35 just to help with the math a little bit. But yeah, it's just a fun, wholesome, happy movie, and it's got a dog in it, and the dog is cool. Also, the dog that lives to be 199, which is like 28 human years or something like that, right? Or 20. It did the math. It was like 20. It's basically like twice the length of twice the average dog lifespan.
Right.
So yeah, not a thing. Did I honestly don't remember. Did I play the forever bit?
No.
Did I forget to play?
Because when Mr. Myrtle asked the cops how long he had to keep the beast chained up like a slave, he said until forever. 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 Forever.
Yeah, sorry. I can't believe I didn't play that. Yeah, forever. So anyway, that was a weird thing that the dog lived to be, I mean, my dog is 16, just turned 16. And I mean, she's old. I mean, she's hanging in there, but
Right.
I can't imagine 4 more years of her. You see what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I love her, but 20 years is a long time for a dog.
Yes, it is.
All right. So that's it. That's our movie. That's our review. The Sandlot. Go watch it if you haven't. It's on Disney Plus. Part of the when they bought Fox movies, 20th Century Fox. That's how they were able to get that. So I teased earlier some of the movies. So I teased a movie about a summer camp. With some wholesome things happening. So next week is that movie, and that's Friday the 13th.
Is it going to be recorded on Friday the 13th?
I don't think so. I think we're going to miss that by a day.
Well, because Friday would be the 14th this year.
Yeah,
this month.
Yeah. And then the other kind of happy-go-lucky summer camp movie is Heavyweights, which I have not seen since I was a child. Oh, by the way, I've never seen Friday the 13th. So
me either. Yeah. Looking forward to it.
I'm gonna see if I can get a guest on for that one. A horror film aficionado. We'll see. Heavyweights, and then our final movie of the thing, our road trip movie is we're gonna do a Goofy movie. That's right, we're doing a Goofy movie. I will go ahead and tell you now, that movie might be as close to a 10 as I've had in a long time. I love that movie. I do. That's just one of those movies that I don't care what you say. It's a favorite of mine. And the music is great, and I'm still waiting for Powerline to make a second album. That's just how it is.
Do you know, speaking of the movie, and I know we'll talk about it when we get to that movie, but there's a big announcement from Disney World regarding the Goofy movie.
Really?
The theme park, Disney World.
Oh.
And specifically the song Powerline.
Or the performer?
The Aerosmith coaster. They no longer have the rights to Aerosmith. So they are turning the rocking roller coaster into a Goofy movie roller coaster.
Oh, we'll have to tell Billy that. He'll love that.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. All right. So that's what we're doing next week. Next week, Friday the 13th, as we continue our summer break movies. Yeah. Just real quick, I know we're kind of wrapping up here. You asked last time, what are we watching?
Mm-hmm.
Just finished season 1 of Reacher with my wife. Really liked it a
Nice.
lot. It's super violent but awesome, and you really get to see a lot of that man. I mean, he's pretty naked a couple of times, and I'm sure my
Nice.
wife enjoyed that. And then we started episode 1 of Bridgerton season 3 last night. So
Yeah, I hear there's some flesh in that one as well.
there has been in all of them. So that's
I haven't seen it.
I don't know why I like it, but I do. I do like heavy dialogue driven shows, and Shonda Rhimes, the woman that created it or that is writing it. It's based on a book, but she's the one that created it. It's heavy dialogue with really kind of fun wordplay, as well as every time there's like a ball or a function, Vitamin String Quartet is playing some kind of contemporary music, but in that style, because it's Vitamin String Quartet. So in the first episode of this season, there's this scene where a character comes in and she is trying to cause a stir because she's feeling kind of bad about some of her decisions.
Mm-hmm.
And the song is being played as she's walking in is that A, B, C, D, E, F, U, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
That's the song that's playing. So as soon as I started hearing it, I started laughing. And my wife's like, what are you laughing at? I'm like, listen to the song. And like, it's like she's walking down the stairs and then she hits that last stair as F you and your mom again, but it's all in, violins and cello, but
Right.
it was perfect. It was perfectly timed. I loved
Nice.
it. So it's stuff like that. I enjoy it. So anyway, anything else you're watching right now?
I have watched the first 2 episodes of The Acolyte on Disney Plus.
Okay.
And was not disappointed. I think it's going to be a fun little show.
Interesting. All right.
Yeah.
I'm
also. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just saying I saw some not so flattering reviews about it. So
No, I think it's fun. If it doesn't involve anything that we've seen in Star Wars so far, as far as the Skywalker saga, and
Yeah.
I think that might rub people the wrong way a little bit, so that they're missing their characters. But if you look at it as a brand new story, I think it's fine. I'm also watching, trying to. I haven't really been able to get into it, but trying to watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Okay.
Just
That's a
started
different-
season 2. Yeah,
It's a different kind of comedy. So
it is. I don't know how I feel about it yet.
all right. Well, if you're to season 2, you're doing pretty good.
I
So.
think I am.
All right.
I'm
Well,
not sure.
cool. Oh, also,
Yeah.
I'm almost to season 3 of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. So I finished last week. I finished Suits, and really loved it. But I felt like I needed something light because Suits can be kind of heavy.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went to Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and it's funny. And a lot of the memes that I see or whatever, I'm getting the references now to the show, but it's also a little hard to what makes sitcoms fun is the situations that they're in, right? But in this kind of show, it can't exist in the real world, right? Because at some point everyone is in on the joke, and therefore it can't be real.
Right.
And that's the only thing that sometimes I have to remind myself is like, he's in an interrogation room, but he's playing a character because he's playing a joke on the captain. Like it would never be real. Like it could never happen.
Right.
But it's what makes it fun. So anyway, that's it. Anything else you have to add? Nope. Cool.
No.
Then with that being said, thank you for listening to Cheap Seat Reviews. Go to our website, cheapseatreviews.libsyd.com. There you can find links to all of our other things. You can find us, of course, on any podcatcher of your choice. Good Pods, apparently we're still tracking really well in Good Pods. So if you're listening to us there, awesome. YouTube, leave us some comments. I'll typically write back. And it's youtube.com/cheapseatreviews. Leave us in reviews wherever you can. We really appreciate it. And that's it. So on behalf of Andrew, this is Shawn saying thank you all so much for listening to our show, and we'll see you next week for Friday the 13th.
All right.
This is Cheap Seat Reviews.